Before we look at the screens, let's have a quick look at the control interface. Firstly, on the top row, there is a line of 8 shortcut buttons, which can be set to specific destinations or to call specific people in your phone book. I'd like to use them for other things, but apparently they can't be used for most things. I'll come back to this a bit later. Below that, you've got 2 silvery buttons which allow you to select some of the main functions of the MMI system. Nav map, which if you press it switches between the map and the navigation entry system. Telephone just below it, and then on the right switching between the radio and the media. In between those you've got the main menu button and a back button. The back button doesn't always do exactly what you expect it to do. Sometimes you need to press one of the other buttons instead, or just go back to the menu and start from there. Below that, the large wheel is the joystick, and this turns round. It can also move left, right, up and down, and it has a touch sensitive pad on the top of it which you can use for writing letters and things like that. And to the left and right of that there are 2 buttons which correspond to indications on the screen and take you to different menus. On the left is generally to go to higher level menus, and the right one is usually for options and settings. And on the right of the gear lever you've got the entertainment system control, which acts as a rotary volume dial, which also turns the sound off when you press it, and moves forward or backwards a track if you click it to the right or to the left. You have some similar controls on the steering wheel. On the left hand side, at the top you have 2 buttons to switch between the tabs on the display, and then below that you've got a selector wheel with 2 context sensitive buttons beside it. And next to that you've got a button that switches the view of the gauges, basically just the size of the gauges, and a back button. On the right hand side you've got a media control with volume and tracks forward and backwards, as well as controls for the telephone, the sound system and the navigation. Finally, there's a favourite button on there which you can set to a number of different functions. Now let's look at the main MMI screen in the middle of the car. This is the menu screen, and from here you've got several options. Under the car option you go to the drive select first of all, and then there are a number of different sets of settings that you can look at. I'm running quickly through a lot of these menus so that this video isn't too long, but you get a good idea of the options that are available. Now we move to the sound menu, and here there's a relatively simple set of controls. You've got settings for things like the telephone, and for the other different systems that generate sounds. Under the radio you have the various different radio stations and the bands and some favourites. The media menu manages any sound files or videos as well on the various different media that you can connect to the car. I've got 2 SD cards in here, but you can also put in CDs, DVDs and also Wi-Fi streaming from your phone. You have a number of different options for display settings and such. The telephone menu gives you a number of different options for calling people, your mailbox. The directory is the directory from your telephone. The navigation system allows you to enter the address you want to go to and gives you a number of different options for displaying and choosing information. You've got a full entry address screen as well, and you can save favourites. Again, the directory comes from your telephone and is the addresses of all of your correspondence. Special destinations is Audi's term for points of interest, and so this can let you find petrol stations or shops or airports or other points of interest along your route. You have a lot of different options for what you can display on the maps. You can have them in 2D, 3D, have the standard maps or Google Earth maps if you have a data connection. Unfortunately, you can't save many things as shortcuts, such as the local car park selection. This is probably my main criticism of this car. The local traffic messages are a useful feature that you get with an online connection. The Audi Connect services give you a variety of different information. Here, for example, you can look at the flights arriving or departing from a local airport. It gives you real-time information on the expected landing times of planes. The Car Finder allows you to locate your car using an app, but I haven't been able to find that on my phone yet. There are a number of different languages that you can set the Mmi system in. The Connection Manager allows you to manage the connections to 2 phones and various other devices. In the speech dialogue system, you can actually train the system to recognize your voice better using the individual speech training option. Now let's take a quick look at the instrument cluster screen. There are 4 main tabs that you can see at the top of the screen. The first one on the left shows general information about the car, and you have a number of different display options that you can select. Next you come to the media screen, where you can see what's playing at the moment and select the different media options. Then you have the phone screen, and finally you have the map and navigation screen, which allows you to select a number of different options. You have less flexibility on this display than with the central display, but it does show the essentials that you need when driving. By pressing the View button, you can change the size of the gauges and then the 4 tabs appear in the centre of the screen only. This is what happens when you turn the car off and get out, leaving your telephone in the charging tray.
Your mobile phone is still in the vehicle.